Today, we at Cohen Davis are pulling back the curtain on one of our most fascinating cases. We're going to talk about what you can do if a sophisticated internet troll tries to ruin your life. We'll show you exactly how we unmasked an anonymous attacker in a complex international game of legal chess. Okay, let's get into it.
Right, before we dive in, just a quick but important note. This is a 100% real case that our firm handled. But to protect everyone's privacy, we've changed the names, the locations, and any other details that could identify the people involved. The story, the strategy, the outcome, that's all true. So, I want you to just imagine this for a second. What do you do when someone online is trying to absolutely destroy you? They know all the tricks to stay anonymous, and you go to the police, but they tell you they've hit a dead end. It is a terrifying situation to be in, and that is exactly the problem our client came to us with.
So an unrelenting digital attack. You know this whole nightmare? And you see this so often. It all started with something almost laughably small, but it spiraled into something truly vicious.
You're not going to believe this, but this entire campaign of malicious harassment kicked off because of a disputed invoice for just £150. That's it. Our client wasn't happy with some web design work, but the response he got wasn't a phone call to sort it out. Oh no, it was all-out digital warfare. And look, we're not just talking about a couple of nasty comments here. This guy who owned the web design business went on a truly devastating campaign. He built dozens of malicious websites. He plastered defamatory posts all over review sites. He even created a website using our client's full name and the web address, put his photo on it, and falsely branded him as a sex offender. And then it got worse. The abuse spilled offline, into the real world, with threatening messages left right outside our client's home.
When the police hit a wall. So of course, the first thing our client did was go to the police. I mean, wouldn't you? But this is where he hit a problem that sadly is all too common for victims of this kind of sophisticated online attack.
Our client, quite reasonably, expected the police to jump on it, investigate, and arrest the person responsible. But the reality was, well, it was very different. The local police force just didn't have the highly specialized technical skills, or, frankly, the resources to chase a troll who was deliberately using services in different countries to cover his tracks.
Now here's the kicker. We actually did some preliminary work and traced an IP address straight back to the troll's business address. The police went in, arrested him, but he was clever. He just flat out denied it. He said it must have been one of my employees. Could have been anyone. And without a direct personal link to him, the police had to let him go. The case stalled.
Our international legal strategy. Okay, so this is where the case landed on our desk. And it was immediately obvious that a standard approach just wasn't going to cut it. We knew we had to build a really meticulous international legal strategy, one designed specifically to smash through that wall of anonymity he'd built.
One of our most powerful weapons for this is something called a Norwich Pharmacal Order. Now that sounds complicated, but think of it like this. It's a special high court order that we get which legally forces a company, say a web host or a social media site, to hand over any information they have about an anonymous user. It is the legal key that unlocks their real identity.
So, here was our three-step game plan. First, we went to the High Court and got that Norwich Pharmacal Order here in the UK. Step 2, since the troll was hiding behind American companies like GoDaddy and PayPal, we used our UK order to then issue legal subpoenas in the US courts. And finally, Step 3, our team got to work, forensically picking apart every single piece of data we got back, hunting for that one tiny mistake.
The digital footprint uncovered. Now, this troll was so confident, he was sure he'd covered all his tracks, using fake names, obscure payment methods, the whole shebang. But he made one small and absolutely critical error.
So just to recap the trail, we had the IP address, but he had his denial. Then we served the subpoenas on the US companies. And buried deep in this mountain of digital files that came back from the web host, GoDaddy, our team found it, an audio file, a recording of a customer service call that the troll had made years before.
And this was the absolute smoking gun. We listened to this recording, and there was his voice, clear as day, confirming his account password with the customer service agent. And the password, it was the first 4 numbers of his own date of birth. We had him. It was the irrefutable, deeply personal link that connected him, and only him, to the whole campaign. Game over.
So, with that piece of evidence in our hands, his web of lies completely fell apart. The path to getting justice for our client was finally clear.
We took the recording straight back to the police. They rearrested him, and this time, he had nowhere to hide. At his criminal trial, he was convicted and ordered to pay our client over £10,000 in compensation. On top of that, he was given a 12-month suspended prison sentence. And that sent a very clear message. This isn't just a game. Online harassment has severe, real-world consequences.
But we weren't finished. For us, a criminal conviction is often just the beginning. To get complete justice for our clients, we fight on all fronts. So after his conviction, we immediately launched a separate civil lawsuit against him and his company. And in the civil court, we won substantial further damages for our client, forced the troll to issue a public apology, and got an order that he had to pay every single penny of our client's legal fees.
So what can you actually take away from all this? Well, this case gives some really powerful practical lessons for anyone out there wondering what to do if they're facing this kind of nightmare. First, and this is the big one, digital anonymity is basically a myth. With the right legal tools, it's almost always possible to find out who's behind the screen. Second, for complex international cases, you need a strategy that can cross borders. Third, the police do a great job, but they have their limits, and often you need specialist legal help to get things moving. And finally, and this is so important, time is absolutely critical. That audio file was our key evidence, but if we had waited a few more months, the company's data retention policy might have kicked in and it could have been deleted forever.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. This case shows how a tiny 150-pound dispute can explode into a life-altering attack. It proves that when you're up against a determined, tech-savvy attacker, sometimes an expert, relentless, and creative legal strategy is the only way to fight back and win. Thanks for joining us.